Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's tale follows a billionaire who steps into a humble bakery only to find his perfectly controlled world turned upside down by the most unexpected person, a passionate baker with a heart full of dreams. What begins as a simple order for his mother's birthday cake takes a surprising turn, leading to moments that will melt your heart and leave you wondering what happens next. Stick around to witness the magic unfold and let us know where you're watching from in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more enchanting stories. There was a billionaire named Ryan Wells. Ryan was a very busy man. He owned big companies, flew in private jets, and wore shiny suits. But there was one thing he always made time for: his mother, Mrs. Wells. She was kind and gentle, and Ryan loved her more than anything in the world. Mrs. Wells's birthday was coming up, and Ryan wanted to make it special. He decided to surprise her with a grand birthday cake. "It has to be the best cake ever," Ryan said to his assistant. "Find me the best bakery in town." The assistant found a small bakery called Sweet Dreams. It wasn't as fancy as the big bakeries Ryan usually liked, but people in town said the cakes there were magical. So Ryan decided to check it out himself. When Ryan walked into Sweet Dreams, he saw a young woman busy decorating a cake. Her name was Harper Green. She had flour on her apron and frosting on her cheek, but she looked happy as she carefully placed tiny flowers on top of the cake. "Excuse me," Ryan said. Harper looked up and smiled. "Welcome to Sweet Dreams. How can I help you?" Ryan explained that he wanted the most amazing birthday cake for his mother. Harper listened carefully and asked lots of questions. What's her favorite flavor? Does she like chocolate or vanilla? What colors does she love? As Ryan answered, he couldn't help but notice how passionate Harper was about her work. She talked about cakes as if they were art. Harper promised, "Don't worry, your mother's cake will be perfect." Over the next few days, Ryan visited the bakery to check on the cake. Each time, Harper showed him a little piece of the progress, a sugar flower here, a hand-painted design there. Ryan found himself staying longer and longer, talking to Harper about everything, not just cakes. He learned that she started baking when she was a little girl and dreamed of one day opening her own bakery. For the first time in a long while, Ryan felt relaxed. He laughed at Harper's jokes and even tried decorating a cupcake. He wasn't very good at it. The day of the party arrived, and Harper delivered the cake to Ryan's mansion. The cake was beautiful, blue and gold with tiny flowers that looked almost real. Mrs. Wells loved it so much, she cried. "This is the best cake I've ever seen," she said. After the party, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about Harper. Something about her made his world brighter. He decided he had to see her again, but he wasn't sure if she felt the same way. As Ryan stood in his grand living room, staring at the card Harper left with the cake, he thought of a plan to return to Sweet Dreams. Ryan decided he couldn't wait any longer. The next morning, he arrived at Sweet Dreams with a nervous smile and a small gift, a box of the finest cocoa beans from South America. When he entered, he found Harper humming a tune, rolling out dough for another creation. "Back so soon, Mr. Wells?" she teased, raising an eyebrow. "Ryan," he corrected, handing her the gift. "And I thought these might inspire your next masterpiece." Harper's eyes lit up as she examined the box. "This is incredible. You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," Ryan replied, feeling a little awkward. "To thank you for making my mom's birthday so special." Harper gave him a warm smile, but before she could reply, a young boy burst into the bakery. "Miss Green, Is my sister's cake ready yet? He asked, bouncing with excitement. Just a moment, Alex, Harper said, turning to grab a carefully wrapped cake box. She crouched down to Alex's level. Take this home safely, okay? Tell your sister happy birthday from me. Ryan watched as the boy beamed and ran out of the shop. You really care about everyone, don't you? He said, impressed. Harper laughed softly. Cakes aren't just desserts, they're memories. Every cake I make is part of someone's special moment. That's why I love what I do. Ryan felt something stir inside him. For years, he had been surrounded by people who were impressed by his wealth, not his heart. But Harper, she was different. Harper, he began before losing his nerve, maybe I could help out sometime? I'd love to see where you make these incredible cakes. You, Harper said, eyes widening in disbelief. The billionaire wants to bake. I might surprise you, Ryan said with a grin. Harper smirked. All right, Mr. Wells. I mean, Ryan, how about you start by folding those napkins? As Ryan fumbled with the napkins, Harper laughed. And for the first time in years, Ryan felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. But the question still lingered in his mind. How could he tell Harper how he truly felt without ruining their budding friendship? Ryan resolved to stick around Sweet Dreams a little longer, hoping the right moment would come. Ryan became a regular at Sweet Dreams. At first, his visits were clumsy attempts to help, stacking cake boxes in uneven piles, spilling frosting, and accidentally burning a batch of cookies. But Harper didn't mind. She found his efforts endearing, and soon enough Ryan learned the rhythms of the bakery. One sunny morning, Harper was teaching Ryan how to create frosting roses. It's all about the swirl, she explained, gently guiding his hand with the piping bag. Ryan felt a flutter in his chest but tried to focus on the task. Like this? He asked, presenting a slightly wobbly rose. Harper chuckled. That's a start, but hey, not bad for a beginner. Before Ryan could reply, the bell above the bakery door jingled. A tall, well-dressed man walked in. Harper, long time no see, he said, his voice smooth and confident. Harper's face lit up. Chase, what are you doing here? She asked, quickly wiping her hands on her apron. I heard Sweet Dreams is thriving, so I had to stop by, Chase replied. It's been what, 5 years since culinary school? Ryan stood there feeling an odd twist in his stomach. Who was this guy? Chase glanced at Ryan. And who's this? Your new assistant? Harper laughed, shaking her head. Chase, this is Ryan. He's been helping around the bakery lately. Chase raised an eyebrow. Helping, huh? Nice to meet you, Ryan. Ryan forced a polite smile. Likewise. As Harper and Chase caught up, Ryan found himself tidying the counter, though his ears were fully tuned to their conversation. Chase was full of stories about his successful restaurant and his plans to expand into a new city. Harper seemed genuinely happy for him, and her laughter rang through the bakery like a sweet melody. After Chase left, Ryan couldn't help but ask, So, who's Chase? Harper shrugged, a small smile on her face. An old friend from culinary school. We were close back then, but life took us in different directions. Ryan nodded, trying to mask his unease. He seems impressive. Harper tilted her head. Are you okay, Ryan? Of course, he said quickly, though his thoughts were swirling. Was Chase just a friend, or was there more to their story? And did Ryan even have a chance to tell Harper how he felt, especially with someone like Chase in the picture? As Harper returned to her work, Ryan stared at the piping bag in his hand, lost in thought. One thing was clear. If he wanted to win Harper's heart, he needed to step out of the background and show her how much she meant to him. Ryan decided he couldn't sit back any longer. If he wanted Harper to see him as more than just the billionaire who folded napkins, he needed to show her who he truly was, a man who cared about her, not just about cake orders. The following day, Ryan came into Sweet Dreams carrying a notebook. Harper looked up from decorating a tray of cookies, a curious smile on her face. "What's this?" she asked as Ryan placed the notebook on the counter. "It's ideas," Ryan said hesitantly. "For your bakery." "For my bakery?" Harper repeated, surprised. Ryan nodded. "You told me once you dreamed of opening your own bakery one day. I thought maybe I could help. These are some ideas for how you could expand Sweet Dreams, like adding a small seating area, maybe hosting cake decorating classes. You could even start delivering your cakes." Harper opened the notebook and flipped through the pages. Ryan had sketched out a cozy seating area with pastel chairs and tables, and written notes about social media promotions and partnership with local events. Her eyes sparkled as she read, but she was also speechless. "Ryan, this is amazing," she said at last. "You really did all this? For me?" Ryan shrugged, trying to act casual, though his heart was racing. "I just thought you deserved for your dream to grow. You work so hard and your cakes make people happy. The world needs more of that." For a moment, Harper didn't say anything. Then, to Ryan's surprise, she reached across the counter and gave him a hug. "Thank you," she whispered. "This means a lot." Ryan was about to respond when the bell above the door rang again. He turned to see Chase walking in, carrying a bouquet of flowers. Ryan's stomach sank. "Harper, I thought I'd stop by and bring you these," Chase said with a grin, holding out the flowers. Harper blinked, clearly caught off guard. "Oh, wow. Thank you, Chase." Ryan stood there, unsure of what to do. Chase glanced at him and then at the notebook on the counter. "What's that?" he asked. "Just some ideas for the bakery," Harper said quickly, closing the notebook. Chase raised an eyebrow. "Ideas? That's interesting. You know, Harper, if you ever want to partner with my restaurant, I'd be happy to help you grow your business." Harper smiled politely, but she seemed overwhelmed. Ryan, on the other hand, felt a wave of frustration. Chase wasn't just offering to help, he was trying to outshine Ryan. As Chase continued talking, Ryan made a quiet decision. He wasn't going to compete with Chase by showing off or trying to one-up him. Instead, he would focus on what mattered most, being there for Harper and proving that he cared, not just with words but with actions. But how? That was the question Ryan was determined to answer. Over the next few days, Ryan tried to figure out how he could show Harper how much he cared about her, not by competing with Chase, but by simply being himself. He realized that Harper valued kindness, sincerity, and creativity, and he wanted to support her dream in a meaningful way. One evening, as Ryan walked by Sweet Dreams, he saw Harper still working long after closing hours. Her apron was dusted with flour, and her movements seemed slower than usual. Ryan knocked gently on the glass door, and Harper looked up, surprised but relieved to see him. "You're still here?" he asked as she unlocked the door to let him in. "Big orders," Harper replied with a tired smile. "The wedding season is keeping me on my toes." Ryan noticed the trays of unfinished cupcakes and the half-decorated wedding cake on the counter. "Let me help," he offered. Harper chuckled. "You're not exactly a pastry chef, Ryan." "I can take direction," he said with a grin. "Come on, let me lighten your load." Reluctantly, Harper handed him a frosting bag and showed him how to pipe simple swirls into the cupcakes. They worked side by side, and though Ryan's swirls weren't as perfect as Harper's, they made progress together. As the hours passed, they talked about everything: Harper's favorite childhood memories, Ryan's adventures in business, and the quirks of the customers who visited Sweet Dreams. By the time they finished, Harper was laughing at Ryan's attempt to decorate the last cupcake. "It's unique," she said, holding back a giggle. "Hey, it's abstract art," Ryan joked. Harper leaned against the counter and sighed with a contented smile. "Thank you, Ryan. I don't know how I would have finished without your help." Ryan hesitated, then said, "Harper, you don't always have to do everything alone. You're incredibly talented, but even the strongest people need support sometimes." Harper looked at him, her expression softening. "I guess I'm not used to having someone stick around." "Well," Ryan said quietly, "I'm sticking around." Before either of them could say more, the bakery door opened and Chase walked in, his usual confident smile in place. "Harper, I just finished a meeting nearby and thought I'd stop by to check on you." Harper looked surprised but welcomed him warmly. "Chase, hi. We just finished up here." Chase glanced between Harper and Ryan, then at the tray of cupcakes. "Looks like you two have been busy." "Ryan, I didn't know you were so handy with frosting." Ryan gave a polite nod. "I'm learning." As the three stood there, Ryan felt the tension in the air. Chase's presence was like a shadow looming over the progress he had made with Harper. Still, Ryan knew that action spoke louder than words. He had to show Harper that he wasn't just passing through her life. He genuinely cared for her in her dreams. Ryan stayed calm despite the tension that Chase's arrival brought. He knew he needed to continue showing Harper through his actions that he was there for her, genuinely and wholeheartedly. "So, Harper," Ryan said, breaking the silence, "is there anything else you need help with tonight?" "I'm more than happy to stick around." Harper hesitated, glancing between Ryan and Chase. "Actually, I think I'm all set for now. You've already been such a big help." Ryan nodded, giving her a reassuring smile. "All right, but if you need me, just call. I'll see you tomorrow." "Of course," Harper said, smiling back at him. As Ryan turned to leave, Chase stepped closer to Harper. "Mind if I walk you out when you're done here? It's late, and I wouldn't want anything to happen to you." Ryan paused at the door but quickly caught himself. "Have a good night, Harper," he said warmly before stepping outside into the crisp evening air. Walking back to his car, Ryan's thoughts were conflicted. He didn't want to overwhelm Harper, but he also didn't want to fade into the background. He had to find a way to remind her of how much her dreams meant to him, and how much she meant to him too. The next morning, Ryan returned to Sweet Dreams with an idea. He waited until Harper had a free moment and pulled out a small folder. "Harper, I've been thinking," he started. "Sweet Dreams is already magical, but I'd love to help you take it to the next level." Harper raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" "I thought we could organize a community event," Ryan explained, his enthusiasm evident. "Something like a Sweet Dreams Cake Day, where families can come in, kids can decorate their own cupcakes, and you can showcase your work to the whole town. It'll not only bring people together, but also give Sweet Dreams even more recognition." Harper's eyes widened, her excitement growing with each word. "That's an amazing idea, but it sounds like a lot of work." "That's where I come in," Ryan said. "I'll handle the logistics. You just focus on the cakes and making it as magical as you always do." Harper laughed softly. "Ryan, I think you're more excited about this than I am." "I might be," he admitted with a grin. So what do you say? Can we team up on this? Harper beamed. Let's do it. As they brainstormed the event, Chase walked in, clearly noticing the energy between them. What's all this excitement about? He asked. We're planning a community event for the bakery, Harper said, her smile radiant. Chase nodded thoughtfully. Sounds ambitious. If you need an extra hand, Harper, you know where to find me. Ryan stayed silent but took mental note of Chase's lingering offer. This wasn't going to be easy, but he knew the event was more than just a project. It was his way of showing Harper that her dreams mattered as much to him as they did to her. The big day of the Sweet Dreams Cake Day finally arrived. The bakery was transformed into a festive wonderland. There were colorful banners, cupcake stations for kids, and the air was filled with the delicious smell of freshly baked treats. Families from all over the town showed up, laughing and enjoying themselves as Harper and Ryan worked tirelessly to ensure everything ran smoothly. Harper was in her element, decorating cakes and teaching children how to pipe frosting. Ryan, on the other hand, surprised everyone with his charm and warmth as he greeted guests, handed out cupcakes, and even managed to win a cupcake decorating contest with a wobbly but creatively decorated cupcake. As the day drew to a close, Harper stood by Ryan, watching the happy crowd. This was perfect, she said softly. I couldn't have done it without you. Ryan turned to her, his heart racing. You could have, Harper, but I'm glad I got to be part of it. Harper smiled, and for a moment they stood there in silence, surrounded by the warm glow of the bakery lights. Before Ryan could gather his courage to speak, Chase appeared, clapping his hands. What a success, Harper. I think you've just proved you're ready for bigger things. If you ever want to partner with my restaurant, the offer's always open. Harper chuckled. Thanks, Chase, but I think Sweet Dreams is exactly where it needs to be right now. Chase nodded, though a flicker of disappointment crossed his face. Well, the offer stands. Anyway, I'll leave you two to celebrate. As Chase walked away, Ryan took a deep breath. Harper, he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. This bakery isn't just a business to you. It's your heart and soul. And I want you to know that, well, I care about Sweet Dreams because I care about you. Harper's eyes widened, her cheeks turning a soft pink. Ryan, I'm not just here to help with cupcakes or events, Ryan continued. I'm here because you've made my life brighter, and I can't imagine a world without you in it. For a moment, Harper said nothing, and Ryan's heart pounded. Then she reached out and took his hand. Ryan, you've been here for me in ways I didn't expect. And honestly, I feel the same. Ryan's face lit up with a smile, and Harper couldn't help but laugh as she saw the relief in his expression. The night ended with the two of them sitting on the steps outside Sweet Dreams, sharing a slice of leftover cake and dreaming about what the future might hold, for the bakery and for them. And with that, Ryan and Harper's journey transformed into something even sweeter, a love story as magical as the cakes that brought them together.